shine. Pick it out. Pick it out. Pick it out!
Plug it in, Marty!
What a goal! What a goal, Joe Rothwell. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Plug it in your veins, laddios. Yes! Get it in my veins! Davenport! That's what you do for a living. That's what you do for a living. Get it in there. Let's get cracking. Let's get cracking. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Get it in my veins. That's what we're talking about. Plug it in my veins. Right, folks, back once again with another match preview. This time looking back at Blackburn Rovers. Big, humongous point at Brentford. And we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe and keep me bang up today with all things Blackburn Rovers related, championship related. Whoa! I've got no voice left, of course, after a 2-2 bloody draw down at Brentford. And yes, indeed, it is a bloody hard-fought point in the end. Rovers pissing in the wind as we played the majority of that match with down to 10 men. When I say majority, at least a half and a bit. We're coming out at the end with a 2-2 hard-fought point in the bloody end. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And of course, a big shout-out to the Patreon gang working behind the bloody scenes. I do appreciate it, guys, supporting the channel through torrid times just like this. And of course, maybe, just maybe, seeing Rovers going out that extra punch this season, and you could be part of that illustrious gang behind the scenes, so I do appreciate that. And if anyone else is out there wants to become the latest member of the Patreon gang, check out the link down below, patreon.com/Roverseas. But yes, let's talk about it. I'm still rolling in elation, of course, with the monstrous 2-2 in the end. Of course, a game that was going Rovers' way early doors as Rovers looked the commanding side. A lot of possession early doors for Rovers, and it showed when Joe Rothwell stepped up to the plate on the 19th minute with what would be, I think, goal of the month contender for Rovers for sure, but also goal of the month contender for the championship, maybe even in that bracket. You could probably put it in that bracket for goal this year. I don't know. I'm still reeling from those the closing minutes of this game. But Joe Rothwell, screamer, created it himself, to be honest with you, and he shows his tenacity, shown his little energy like he does, and of course he steers his way towards goal, and of course beats his old teammate, of course, David Ryan between 6 for Brentford, and he puts that Barry's in the back of the net on the 19th minute. So Rovers in command. And at that point, they didn't hold back. They looked like they could create a couple more chances as well. But the next humongous bit of play went in favour of Brentford. Already, Toney was booked for simulation, which got himself a yellow card, but it didn't stop him going down again in the box. Whether it is a legitimate penalty or not, I'm not seeing it back. But ultimately, it cost Rovers dearly, as not only did he convert from the penalty spot, we also lost a man, Darragh Lenihan, and of course El Capitano get himself sent off, which does not only rule him out for the rest of this game, but also rules him out for the next game against Bristol City. And as I disclose in a little bit, it does leave us with a bit of a selection headache for that match heading into it, of course. But Darragh Lenihan, before that, recently, a couple of minutes before, I did pick up a yellow card for another offence there as Brentford tried to get himself back into it. But of course, referee looks like, to be honest with you, I think it's a straight red, but to be honest with you, I think it's a bit harsh. A second yellow would have ultimately given a red card, but I think the referee had his hands tied a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, I think if the situation hadn't happened earlier with Darragh Lenihan with the yellow card, it would have been a yellow card and he would have stayed on the field. And to be honest with you, I think the game would have ended up differently as Rovers looked like they had the bit between the teeth for the first 20-25 minutes of this game. But Brentford got themselves back into it. They took the lead with that penalty. Toney, of course, now level pegging with Adam Armstrong on the top scoring charts. And again, they looked of course stronger with that man advantage heading towards halftime. Unfortunately, Rovers, we held on dear to the break. Moby decided to regroup, rethink, and come out of it with some changes. Of course, he pulled. We had not only did we have a bit of concern with of course the man advantage or the man disadvantage, but we also lost Scotty Wharton again, injury. He's only been his first came back since being pulled out. I think it was against Barnsley, wasn't it, or maybe the game before. But yeah, he didn't last long. He was changed by Ayala, who came in and did a Rolls Royce job performance at the back there as Rovers tried to climb on in there. So we not only did we lose Lenihan, skipper, of course, and centre-back, we also lost Scotty Wharton. So we were forced to kind of mix it up a little bit with, of course, Ayala coming in at the back there, Nyambi playing at centre-back, which I think they did a fantastic job keeping Brentford to just scoring the 2 goals on the day. We also lost Douglas as well. Tribal was pulled as we tried to keep up the heat. And I think that was a monumental masterstroke by Toney Mowbray as we outfoxed the Foxter, of course. But yes, 1-1 over the break. Then Brentford went for it in the second half and they duly got their second goal. It was only a matter of time, to be honest with you. Sergi Canos getting the leading goal for Brentford as they tried to pull away with it. But fortunately for Rovers, I think they had a game plan, and the game plan was to hold back until around about the 83rd minute mark, something like that, before we would try and press and go for it. Because if the advantage was too big, it was a 3-1 or a 4-1. Guess what? It would have been no hope for us. But unfortunately, Rovers losing that goal 2-1, we decided to be conservative, hold it back, keep a shape, keep a form, and then try and get them on the break. And fortunately for Rovers, it ended up in the back of the net. Not only did it end up in the back of the net, it ended up in the back of the net from an unlikely source, and that unlikely source was Jacob Davenport. That's right, he bloody well owed us this one. He bloody well owed this one because he blew them lines last season with a glorious opportunity to win a game, which could have proved to be a make or break result for us in the playoffs. And this could also be a make or break result for us as well as Brentford. Again, there will be a trivia question. I said this on the watch along. Who did Brentford play in their first match of their brand new squeaky clean stadium? Well, it was Rovers, and guess what? They didn't win. So not the greatest snap. Again, it was a game that saw the fans return for some EFL clubs, and 2,000, I think, fans were in the house to watch Brentford and Rovers duke it out to a 2-2 draw. So ultimately, I don't think Brentford deserved it. I think their performance was a little bit shady, a little bit under par, underwhelming, and to be honest with you, I think they blew their chance today with the man at less advantage. And they're a decent side. They are there. They're in the discussion, and they'll be there in the end of the season. I think within the top 2 or the top 6 as well. So we're not seeing the last of them, and I do believe it'll be another cracking encounter next time around at Ewood Park, and hopefully there'll be fans in the stands for that one as well, and we might even see the Dacarino play for that one as well. So he wasn't anywhere near the facility today, but it's only a matter of time. Well, hopefully we'll get Dacarino back. So 2-2 in the end. I'll take a look at some stats and figures. They're coming at you right here, right now. In fact, here are some stats and figures for you. Of course, possession-wise was bossed by the host, Brentford, of course, with the man advantage, 67% for them, 33% for Rovers, 85% success rate with the passing as well for Brentford. Rovers 65% for them. Aerial duels won Rovers and command in that area with 15 compared to their 14 tackles as well on the ground, 6 dribbles as well for Rovers, 4-2 on corners. But the score that matters was the 2-2. And as you can see, it is Christmas time, folks. It is the time of the season where you dish out your Christmas cards. And guess what? The referee had a field day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellows for Rovers, including Kaminsky. Just the 2 for Brentford. And to be honest with you, I think they're a little bit harsh. I did say this in my instant reaction. A very, very amateur refereeing we're seeing at the EFL. It is a bit of an embarrassment. Are they professional referees? Or are they still amateurs like they used to be? Are these guys professional full-time thing, and this is what they get paid to do? Because if it is, they need to flip and go back to training, because it was a little shitty show, to be honest with you. I think Force was one who did pick up a yellow card, or Fonsu, one of the two Forces. There was an incident where Rovers had an attacking bit of play. Of course, with the man advantage, it is massive, a man disadvantage for us. When Rovers have that advantage, it is huge. We're not going to get those likely, but of course, referee decides to blow the whistle for a yellow card, which would have been given once the ball would have been out of play. Can you not memorise it? Can you not put it in the back of your brain for a little bit, just so to see whether this bit of play would turn out to be anything decent? But no, the referee was clueless and decided to blow the whistle, and ultimately stole play and actually put the ball pretty much back into Brentford's advantage there, which was very, very close. And there was a couple of those today which really winded me up, and I'm happy that Rovers got something out at the end of this, because I think we deserved it. The way we played, the way we focused, the way we dug deep and showed the grit, and that grit is what we need kicking off forward. Of course, Rovers now unbeaten in I think maybe 6 games. We were top of the form table heading into this, but now of course that point, and of course the mentality to going into the Bristol City will be massive, and hopefully we can turn this not only into a point this week, maybe even get a couple more points with Bristol City waiting in the wings. Of course, Norwich not too far away either. Of course, that's some stats and figures there. Let's take a look at some shots and stuff like that. Of course, as you see, Brentford were quite aggressive with their shots. Of course, I think they had 16 shots on the day, 7 off target, just 3 on target, so 2 in the back of the net. So realistically, if they were a bit more clinical in front of goal, it could have been more than that. But again, it was bodies on the line stuff on Rovers. As you can see, 778 touches for Brentford, 611 passes compared to Rovers 462 and 298. If you're a heat map man, just like me, as you can see, Rovers being pegged in the back there. Realistically, just having the chances coming down the right-hand side, as you can see that with Nyambe in the first half and Buckley in the second half. And I think Buckley did absolutely tremendous coming out right back, filling in the void, and Bell also doing his bit as Douglas was pulled off. Take a look at the starting lineups in just a second. Of course, as you see, Brentford bossed it with a lot of possession. Mainly in the defensive third, though, in your Pinnock, in your Jansen areas as they try to kick on forward. But ultimately, Ivan Toney, yes, he got the goal from the penalty spot, but he didn't really impress me, to be honest with you, today. As you see, the start lineups for Brentford, David Wright between 6, Henry, Jansen, Pinnock, and Dalsgaard, of course, from Lord of the Rings. De Silva, Jensen, also from Lord of the Rings, and Janelt as well, with Canos and Force, with Ivan Toney up top. As for Rovers coming into it, Kaminsky between 6, Douglas at left back, Lenihan, Wharton, and Nyambe. This was the starting 11s, of course, but we did see some of these players removed early doors. Wharton left, Douglas left, and Tribal, of course, in midfield alongside Johnson and Rothwell, Elliott, Armstrong, and Gallagher. Of course, no big bad boy Brereton today, and again, our bench was a little bit weak, but guess what? The guys that were on the bench stood up to the plate. Tyree Stoneham being a nightmare, of course, with the assist to Jacob Davenport. That's Tony Mowbray MasterCard. Of course, he's playing his top trumps right there, and he's playing the hand that he's been given, and again, substitutions worked out in favour with the 5 for Rovers. Of course, my match ratings, Kaminsky with the 6. He was not really that bothered, to be honest with you. He's not really that busy. I think it was the defensive line ahead of him that took the hits for them. Douglas scored the 5 again. Left back Bell probably would have got 6. Lenihan with a 6. I don't think he was that good, to be honest with you. And again, I might have been a bit generous with the 6. I probably am. I think he probably deserves a 2 because of the red card. Wharton with a 5 again. That back 4 started the game, but of course nowhere near ending it. Of course, you had Ayala in there, and I think Ayala was probably a 7 or an 8, of course, with his commanding performance. And he's showing his quality, showing why he is been dubbed the Royal Royce of defenders. And Nyambe with an 8, playing out right back for the majority of the first half, and then at centre back as he filled in the void. And again, we'll probably see that against Bristol City on Wednesday night. Tribal, of course, we didn't get to see much of him, giving him 4, bit of harsh maybe, but he got pulled. And again, it's the sacrifices that the Mowbray had to make for this one, and unfortunately the Tribals and the like. Douglas perhaps, and were the sacrifices made to keep us in this game. Johnson was commanding performance in midfield. He is the big boss man midfielder that I've always wanted, and he will remain just that. Rothwell with a 7 as well. Good goal. Unfortunately, a cheeky yellow kind of limited his options in the second half, and of course he had to be removed with the substitution. Of course, Elliott with a 7 again. He was important in everything going forward. Armstrong again, not his best day. Again, he was pulled towards the middle of the second half as we tried to conserve maybe him for Wednesday, and Gallagher was very, very much a handful, of course. Not really goal scoring wise, but being a pain in the butt up front and running, chasing down everything, trying to just keep us in the game. Take a look at what else is going on in a minute, but until then, let's take a little look at what the gaffers had to say. Tony Mowbray, what do you think about that result? I think it's absolutely Bobby Dazzler. I think we absolutely mugged him off here with a 1-1 draw. What about you, Tony? Tell me what you're thinking.
I find that difficult. I said them to there. I can't remember being prouder of a team than the effort they put in today, the organisation they showed, the desire, in all aspects really. The first 36 minutes I thought we were dominant on top, looked like we were going to score more goals, going to hopefully go and win a game. I know Brentford are a team that can wear you down with their passing, and they've got good attacking players, but I thought for them 36 minutes we were exceptionally good. Needed to sort of reorganise, got through to half time, needed to reorganise, and I thought we did it really, really well. Made them play a bit slower, let them have it at the back, playing it across. It became a bit pedantic for them. And we always have said at 80 minutes we had to flick the switch back into high intensity. So because we might as well lose 3 or 4-1 than lose 2-1. And so we came out of defensive mode and back into attacking mode on 80 minutes. And ultimately there's the result. We scored a goal. For them last 5 minutes of injury time, we dropped back into defensive mode, of course, but and I think it was the right thing to do against the Brentford team. With 10 men, we were good for them 8 or 9 minutes when we were back on the front foot and scored. But we should put the point in the bag, get back on the bus, and look forward to the next game. Because at 2-1, with them in total control of the game and us not being able to break away. Because we were trying to really make it a slow game for them. It was difficult to see where we were going to get back into it, other than we knew at 80 minutes as that clock was ticking right in front of me. I had a few opportunities when substitutions to tell them the plan to get it around the team, that on 80 minutes we were going back on the front foot. it feels great for the team, and as a manager it feels good that the players can feel that I'm trying not to be, feel as if you know what you're doing, if that makes sense, and they feel and trust that your instructions can work when they do work. And so for us to get the goal, getting back on the front foot and gambling, leaving 1v1 at the back, etc., where you wouldn't normally do that, took us a point. You know, people might argue and say, well, if you'd have played like that all game you might have won 3 or 4-0, but we weren't, because these are a good team and you have to respect them. And what we did was slow their mentality down, really, let them block off a lot of spaces, stop them playing lots of forward passes, and it's a great result. So how proud, very proud of the team today. I don't know what the time was when they scored their second goal. It was a great strike right in the top corner, but we didn't change, we didn't go chasing it from that point. It was 80 minutes we went chasing it, and because I think if you chase it against good teams too early, you leave yourself vulnerable defensively, and you think you're going to try and score an equaliser and you find yourself 4-1 down, and we've been that team in the past. Just happy for the team today, happy that we've got a long journey back, but that they've taken something from the day. We've got another long trip coming to Bristol midweek, where we go again. I've just said to my staff there, we have to really think hard about our defence. Can we pick a defence for the next game, with obviously Scotty Wharton's looking like his Achilles is giving him trouble there. You know, it's really worrying when he goes down with no challenge or nobody around him. Obviously Darragh with his red card won't be ready for Wednesday. I don't know whether it's a 1 or a 3 game. If it's a straight red, it's 3. If it's a 1 game, that'll be all right. We have to get through, because as Nyambi showed today, he can cope with that at times. So they need a break, really. They need a breather. That was a real testing game, and again, why does Scotty Wharton break down? I'm not sure that Scotty's was fatigue, because obviously he missed the last game. It's a real concern for us, of course, and in that position it's a concern. The positive is that Derek Williams trained the other day, and fingers crossed that he feels ready and up for the game on Wednesday. The doctor travels with us everywhere, so I've spoken to the doctor, spoken to the head of physio department, and it needs scanning, of course, but it's never a good sign when something goes. You know, the doc says it feels pretty loose, and without being overly negative, it doesn't seem as if it's just a mild injury. But we'll know more when it gets scanned. And Jacob's a really nice kid. He's had a shocking time with his injuries, and then he's got himself fit, and it's been difficult to get him in the team. But ultimately, as I say to him, it comes down to trust, really. He hasn't had the opportunity to show me, and as he will say to me, how do you get trust without giving me a chance to play? And yet, it's not about giving you a chance to play, it's about the team trying to win football matches. And if I think Travis, Johnson, Evans, whoever it might be, Holtby, are in front of him, I pick the team that tries to win. And but what he needs is opportunity, like he got today, and he grabbed his opportunity today with both hands, which gives me more faith that when I need to play him, I can play him, because he looks pretty sharp today, not just because he scored a goal, but he snapped into tackles. He was a thorn in their side in the middle of that midfield.
Is that everything about the sort of the player that you signed a couple of years ago, what you wanted from him?
Tenacious. That's what I saw about him. Tenacity around the pitch, playing for Burton. I know he was on loan at Burton. I saw a lad who could pass it with his left foot, who was positive, who snapped into tackles, who broke lines with his passing. And I thought he was a young kid who we could put in our squad and wait for him to mature and grow into our team. Now, it's probably taken a little bit longer than he would have hoped and I would have hoped through some certain circumstances, but a real positive for Jacob Davenport today. He should score goals like that every week, because he does in training. I love to see him picking it up deep like that and running past 2 or 3 men, breaking lines. You can see the fear in the eyes of the centre-halves as he breaks past the midfield, and this fast manipulator of the ball's running straight at them. And really pleased for Joe, pleased for the team that they dug in so deep today and got a point in a really tough game. And yet I do sit here worrying about the number of injuries we have defensively. You have to be strong. I thought Ayala stood up to the test today. I talked to Daniel. I said he was going to put him on the bench. I was worried about his workload and how much load he's got in his legs from not playing very many football matches since January. But threw him in today and he stood up like the man he is and looked a mountain. So if Derek's fit, then it might not look so bad. And obviously Ryan showed today how he can cope with most strikers in the league. So, you know, it's just a concern that we're picking up lots of injuries because we want to keep progressing and getting stronger if we can.
Meanwhile, what's been going on social media? Let's take a little look then at what's been going on the Twitter sphere, shall we? Kicking it all off with Blackburn Rovers again, and they say, never say die, as Rovers snatched the point there. But Northern Rover, he said, this a draw that feels like a win. It did. Given the circumstances, that is a fabulous point. Brilliant second half when we disciplined and dug really deep. Mike Delap, of course, always vocal. Mowbray played an absolute blinder there. To stand a chance, we needed to limit the damage and pinch something from the sparse chances we had. Really well done. So proud that of that effort from Rovers in the second half. Meanwhile, Elliot Bennett, of course, captain, really. Of course, edging closer perhaps to get himself back into the field, maybe. I don't know what his injury is. It's a big one anyway. Teams will be delighted with the point at Brentford with 11 men. The fact the boys have done that with 10, losing both centre-halves, left-back and attacking midfield at right-back shows the incredible togetherness and character in the team. Again, Michael Ladd, once again, man of the match for Rovers. A toss-up between Ayala and Gallagher. Thought Gallagher looked a real pain in the arse to defend against, and his aerial hold-up play really good as well. Simon Garner, of course, legend. Work rate today was brilliant, and that was a hard-earned and well-deserved point for Rovers. Huge team effort, and Gallagher was outstanding, of course, as he gives BBC Lancs an update. Really rough. Fred Cumpsty, of course, traditional Lancashire name, that one, says, they say fortune favours the brave. Bold moves by Toney Mowbray just over the hour, setting the scene for a spirited comeback as they come. Such was the impact. It confounded Brentford and that's a big old word there, enlivened the Rovers. Gallagher, a tireless outlet with Nyambi and Ayala resolute. Enjoy, Rover writes. Indeed, I will. Leon Livingston, of course, celebrity Rover. Cricket extraordinaire. What a result that is. Never a pen and never a straight red. Zimmer, brilliant point. Would have snapped your hand off before the game for that. Lenihan needs a slap, though. Simon Woodford said this. What a bloody fantastic point that is. Absolutely brilliant part. Apart from Lenihan, who let the side down. In Mowbray's words, we put the point in the bag and move on to the game on Wednesday. Rovers, aka One Rovers, said this. Well done, lads. Took some real fight, that. Proud of you, boys. Gaz said this. Fantastic point in the circumstances. To be fair, I'd have taken a point before kick-off. Well done, boys. Great battling. Chuffed for Davenport with his first goal too. He owes us that one. I bloody well keep saying it. He owes us that one. We are going to be fine this year. This is John, aka J Macca 7. I'm convinced that Lenihan has not. I'm convinced that had Lenihan not sent off, that we would have been easy. We'd have won that game, no problem. Bradley Dack and Travis can't come soon enough. Indeed. Meanwhile, Darwin N said this. Mowbray Masterclass, my effing manager. Meanwhile, Kirk Lowe said this. That was class. Showed real determination and never gave up. What a point. Wayne, aka Wazza, said this. Well played, lads. What a performance with 10 men. On to the next. Adrian Cook said, really good point. Even given the way the game went, come on, Rovers. Phil Sports UK said, every single man out there, take a bloody bow. We are together. What a set of lads. Callum Atkins said this. Shows our determination and resolve. 10 men away against one of the best sides and stand our ground and nick a point. That would have happened. That wouldn't have happened last year. Bravo, lads, he said. Bravo indeed. We are the Rovers, said this. Who is this really? That is Mr. Mac 84. Said, one of the best points we've ever won over the last 10 years or so. That was grit, determination and guts rolled into one. It's beautiful to see. Jamie Tobias Amos said this. I went nuts. My wife and my kids, who are American, just looked on in disbelief. And then Chris W said, I think he enjoyed this one in regards to my little video. Cheeky video out there. Of course, Dave Spin, of course, big fan of his, and he's also a big fan of mine, I think. So happy with the point from nowhere. So happy for Davenport. Also, got to say, what a cool Armour-esque finish from Davenport. And again, we've got to also, you know, look, the goal from Davenport is good, scrappy. But Joe Rothwell, what a goal, sunshine! If you haven't seen it, bloody well take a look at it. He creates it himself, and it's going to get forgotten about. It's going to get forgotten about, and I'm glad it's not going to get forgotten about because of the point. It's a massive point in the bag, and again, Joe Rothwell was equal to that performance today. He shows what he's all about: the tenacity, the vigour, the goals. Well, finally the goal is coming because he hasn't scored many. And he scored a belter today. Anyway, take a look at what else went on this weekend out in the Championship. Barnsley against Bournemouth in the Battle of the Bees, Part 2. Bournemouth big winners there. Reading, though, 2-0 winners against Nottingham Forest, as Chris Hughton's boys are still yet to really get into top gear. Watford, though, they lost to Cardiff. Shame on them. Swansea, though, 2-0 winners over Luton. Coventry, 3-1 winners over Rotherham. Stoke, 1-0 winners over Neil Warnock's boys. Bristol City against Birmingham. The other Battle of the Bees is a big win for Birmingham. Maybe just a little bit of element of doubt in Bristol City's mind as they take on Rovers this weekend. So that's good for us. Preston 2-2 against Wickham. Shame on Preston though on that one. Derby County big win against Millwall. Huddersfield 2-0 wins against QPR. And Norwich fighting back against Pulis' boys. But the game of the weekend really was at Brentford. 2-2 draw in the end. Situation at the table as it stands. Norwich leads a charge 1 point clear over Bournemouth. Reading are up to third as well, level on points with Bournemouth. Swansea not too far away either. Stoke into fifth, Brentford into sixth. Rovers, though, into ninth, but a win away from fifth, which is good. It's okay. I know we all looked at maybe, clinging up to second or into the top six at the end of it. You know what? I realistically didn't think this way. I expected a draw with 11 men. To come out of it with a draw with 10 men is a flipping Bobby Dazzler. You can't knock it. The foot of the table, Wednesday, Derby and Wycombe going down as it stands. Forest, though, not in a bit of trouble themselves. Keep your eye not too out of the woods either. But Rovers, again, again, if we could take a point against Bristol City, you know what? It's fine. We're taking points off the teams in and around us. Watford are showing us that it's not all plain sailing for the big boys as well. It's still very, very early. And again, to be within touching distance, 3 points off of playoffs at this stage is very, very good. Look at the head, of course. Rovers taking on Bristol City. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Swansea against Bournemouth on Tuesday night. Millwall against QPR in an all-London affair. Huddersfield against Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke against Cardiff. We also have Coventry against Luton in a sort of mid-lower table contrast. Watford against Rotherham, trying to get back to winning ways, of course, down at Vicarage Road. Preston against Middlesbrough, of course. Norwich against Nottingham Forest, the battle of the ends there. Of course, Brentford against Derby. They'll be trying to get back to winning ways. Will Wayne Rooney's boys do us a favour, as Barnsley also take on Wycombe and Reading taking on Birmingham. But again, the weekend or the midweek will be Bristol City against Rovers, and we will have a watch-along, which I am also, unbeaten run now, of course, with two watch-alongs in a row when we're not lost. So maybe, just maybe, the watch-alongs are lucky. And we should have a fan, an opposition fan on the show, I think, if he's still free and available. Youngster, who does his own Bristol City video, so we'll take a little look at him as well. And again, we'll have match preview of that, probably either Sunday, Monday. We'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. But that's it! That is it! Hopefully you enjoyed it, folks. If you did, smash the thumbs up, and if you're new, bang your subscribe, and keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related. Woo! Football related. We got it all here in a bloody car. Get it in your veins.
Get it in your veins.
Said as Rovers if it's a draw that feels like a win. It was said on the old Twitter sphere by a couple of the fans there. It's a draw that feels like a big fat hairy W, and I'll take that all day long. I would have taken it at kickoff, but to 10 men last minute, it doesn't come much sweeter than that. The Brentford fans, they were back in the stands to see their team take a little a point, but that was all it was. Rovers digging deep and get themselves a very, very Brucey bonus themselves. That's it, my friends. I'll see you all very soon. Be safe, mask up, and I'll be back, of course, as previewing the Bristol City game. And, of course, prediction shows will be on the channel as well. But until then, though, I'm going to get out of here. Going to lie down. Take it easy. It is Christmas time. That's all. Let's get merry, lads. Let's get merry.